When I was a kid, I was really into music. I was really into movies, big over the top rock star guys. But it wasn't until I saw this man, ECW producer Paul Heyman, put on his show, Extreme Championship Wrestling, every Saturday night at midnight on the MSG network, where over the top characters beat the crap out of each other to really, really cool music and talk shit in a Shakespearean way that made my 13, 14-year-old ass completely fall in love with ECW. I was kind of a wrestling fan, and it was around. It was really cool. It was funny. I thought it was really funny. Certain characters in wrestling were over the top and funny, and this is before Austin and all that stuff. But ECW had like the coolest wrestlers. He had the Mexican guys like Rey Mysterio and Psychosis. He had Sandman coming out drinking beer and smoking cigarettes to Metallica. He had like the Dudleys come out to Highway to Hell, and they were just these dorky tough guys that just beat the crap out of people. And the gangsters came out to NWA and Ice T and or Ice Cube rather, and it was just and they just beat the crap out of people with the most interesting things, toys and video game systems. And then Terry Funk and Sabu were having barbed wire matches, and Cactus Jack and Terry Funk were beating the crap out of each other, and it was all set to this amazing soundtrack. And like even the TV commercials were cool. Like even like the commercials for like the T-shirts were cool, And the guy really implanted this style of video editing and producing for TV, and like I mean, obviously all the stuff that he did was basically illegal because he copyright infringed pretty much everybody and anyone he could, but he bought infomercial spots, so nobody really knew, and he kind of flew under the radar. But he was very influential to me in my career as a comedian. He was very influential. And when I finally got a talent spot as a rib from the booker and the promoter that I first worked for, because I kind of looked like a young Paul Heyman and sounded like one, I was known as the bastard son of Paul Heyman, and he put me in this little getup with the backstage passes and stuff. And I just said I'm gonna make it work, and if I'm gonna be the bastard son of Paul Heyman, then I'm gonna really make it work, you know. But I owe Paul Heyman a lot as far as my sketch comedy career goes, because the JP Ward show has ECW written all over it. But sketch comedy, Chris Farley is king. He is my comedy king. Um, I found Chris Farley around the same time that I found ECW. Chris Farley, probably like 95, 96, um, was this big, loud, crazy Irish guy who liked to have a drink, who liked to smoke, and put on a show, and was funny as hell. And the whole presentation of him, big, loud, Irish, obnoxious. He was like all the guys I knew. He was like all the guys I grew up with. He was like all the guys' fathers I knew, you know, and impersonating Chris Farley, not imitating him, but borrowing some of his little tools and tricks, really got me through a lot of good times and hard times in my life. And a lot of his style was I borrowed a lot of his style. I didn't straight up copy him, but I borrowed a lot of his things as far as physicality and hairstyle, and just kind of being the type of alcoholic I wanted to be. And that sounds terrible, but his movies were fantastic, and I could only wish I could be a movie star like he is. Um, and I think a lot of people, you know, especially in high school or maybe in my early 20s when I was really messed up, would say things, like, well, you keep saying you're going to die young, and so did Chris Farley, and, look what happened to him. I mean, you keep going the way you're going, you're going to end up dying young. And, not really doing anything, like, and I didn't really want to do that, so I kind of cleaned up a little bit, but I kept the essence. And, I was always kind of billed or pinned or, it was in this like stereotype of like if Paul Heyman and Chris Farley like had this gay son, like that's who I would be. And that's like really cool that people thought that about me. And I mean obviously I don't wear it. It's not like an ego trip or anything. But yeah, I mean Chris Farley was just my absolute hero. Paul Heyman and Chris Farley were major influences on me in my career as a comedian, especially in my 20s and in my teens. And it's something that I'll just never forget. And I'll always cherish those two men, no matter what happens, no matter where their careers go. Obviously, Chris Farley's passed on, but whatever Paul does, I'll always cherish what he does and who he is because Chris Farley and Paul Heyman made me who I am.